Raider Nation, if you don't subscribe to the Raiders Report, then... And if you don't get that, then I guess also you can. Seriously, hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications. Coming up right now, Raiders Minicamp winners and losers here on the show. I'm Mitchell Renz, host of the Raiders Report, and what we're going to be doing here is breaking down the 2 days of Raiders mandatory minicamp practice. Now, originally, they were supposed to practice 3 days. They practiced on Tuesday, they practiced on Wednesday. Antonio Pierce decided to give him the day off on Thursday for the simple fact of he thought that they already had enough. They saw what they saw, and they were really just trying to build like camaraderie, building the team, and then once it comes to actually putting the pads on in training camp, I think you're going to see a lot of interesting stuff here. So there's no order, there's no ranking. I am going to start with the winners on offense, then I'm going to go to the winners on defense, and then round this thing out with the losers overall. First, offensive winners, Dylan Laube. He might have been the biggest winner for me personally. Based on the notes that I received here from this guy, he was already working with the ones. If you're playing in a fantasy football league and a PPR league, I do think that you should try to draft Laube. He's already getting work with the ones in passing situations. Plus, he's shown that he's a good athlete, might even get some opportunities in special teams. Let's go to the next winner here from minicamp. It's Brock Bowers. Bowers dominated minicamp for the rookies. He dominated OTAs, and now he's continuously showing that, you look at him, and I love it because Raider fans love Hunter Renfrow. He's the upgrade button on Hunter Renfrow in every single way. They're going to use him in a lot of different ways with 12 personnel. Can't wait to see it go down. Next guy that I think is a clear winner from minicamp is Tre Tucker. One of the players that Antonio Pierce spoke great lengths about on Thursday, about him just putting in all this extra work. Talked about him really taking that next step forward. I have said on this show that I don't necessarily know how they're going to use him, and I'm really, really hoping that once the pads go on, you can kind of see that translate a little bit more. But, let's face it, minicamp is kind of built for a player like Tre Tucker. Freak athlete, super, super fast, and you can really show a lot of that athletic ability before you start taking some tackles. But Tre Tucker, big-time winner. Jackson Powers-Johnson in here at offensive guard. And the reason why I'm going to add him here is because there were so many question marks. There was some concern, right? Let's be real. There was some concern that he had a potential injury. Went out there, he practiced, showed already early on. Smart kid. And for offensive linemen, being intelligent, being able to pick up blockers is extremely important, especially in the zone blocking system that this Raiders team is going to run. They're going to run a lot more wide zone, maybe than what they've done before. You might even mix in a little bit of power. Antonio Pierce wants to be physical. That's what Jackson Powers-Johnson's doing. But my biggest concern for him was, how's that transition going to be from center to offensive guard? You heard James Craig talk that he's really already showing that he's going to be a good pass blocker in the NFL, which is obviously a good thing. Though we knew that he could run block. Is he going to be able to pass block, though? Aidan O'Connell, the next name coming up here for our mini camp winners on offense. And the reason why I'm going to say Aidan, it's not because it hasn't been reported of who's been the better quarterback. In fact, if anything, the Raiders defense has really just gone out there and showed that they've been dominating the offense. The reason why I mention Aidan is because when you listen to a lot of the leaders of this team talk, and they also talk about some of the other leaders that have just gone out there and just leading by example, Maxx Crosby, Davante Adams. The amount of players and coaches that have mentioned Aidan O'Connell's name and not Gardner Minshew's, and maybe I'm reading a lot into it. But also, I do believe where there's smoke, there's fire. There's a lot of smoke right now around AOC. Maybe I'm wrong. Kind of hope I am. If Aidan O'Connell is the Raiders starting quarterback this season, this is going to be the pinned comment here on today's show. You're about to get hit with a YouTube ad break. I want you to scroll on down and give me your best educated guess. How many TDs, how many passing touchdowns for Aidan O'Connell this season in the silver and black? The number that I'm going to throw out there is, to me, the lowest number. If he starts all 17 games, Aidan's got to be around 21. Got to be around this 21 touchdown mark. I'm hoping that he can get somewhere around 25 to 26. I don't think that he's going to get anything higher than that. The Raiders do have a lot of talent on the offensive side of the football, and the biggest question mark is running back and quarterback, no doubt about it. And if they can protect him and they can really rely on the defense, the Raiders aren't going to win games because of their quarterback play. But what you don't want is be the reason why you lose games because of your quarterback play. Let's go to the defensive side of the football now for our minicamp winners. I'm going to put Maxx Crosby on the list, which I kind of feel like as a Raiders Report host, and tell me if this is a good example or not of what I'm making here, I almost feel like Mad Max right now is kind of like LeBron James like 5-6 years ago, where you just have such a high expectation for Max of him being this unbelievable player. We know he's the best guy on our roster, but like that doesn't mean that he wasn't a minicamp winner. Like he just goes out there and he does his thing. He's a hell of a leader. He's running this football team. Everybody, all eyes on him. He's bringing out this competitive nature, but because it's like you have such a high expectation, like let's be real, LeBron James probably should have won like 5 or 6 straight like MVPs, but they just stopped doing it because it was like, well, he wasn't as good as what he was last year. It's like, sure, but he was still the best player in the NBA. Maxx Crosby's the best player on the Raiders, and because of that, we still got to put him in this list because he was one of the best players at minicamp. Let's go to the next guy. It's Christian Wilkins, and I'm telling y'all, I was so fired up when the Raiders signed Wilkins. He was my number 1 defensive tackle for a very long time once Justin Matabuke ended up getting franchise tagged this offseason, and I said, Raider fans are going to love Wilkins, and you're already seeing it. Wilkins is challenging Crosby. Like, I want to have my 2 best players on defense want to be the best, and they're going to bring out the athletic ability. They're going to bring out the competition. They are going to bring out that Raider mantra. Like, I'm talking about Raider defenses that used to be feared. This is going to be a defense that's feared, and I can't wait for the national media, for the NFL to catch up and be like, oh, shit. We really missed this one with the silver and black. Let's go to the next name here. It's Malcolm Koonce. To me, he's a winner, and I didn't get too many notes based on like how good he was at practice, and kind of like the same thing I mentioned about Max. I know Malcolm's going out there and he's doing his thing. I know that the coaching staff is very fired up about him. But for me, the reason why I'm going to put Koonce as a winner is because he's somebody that we always talk about for contract extensions, right? Contract extensions just continuously get brought up around Malcolm, and if you're going to pay a player like Koonce, you need to be able to make sure that not only is he getting it done on the field, but is he being a leader off the field? Is he helping out younger players at practice? Multiple coaches have said Malcolm has taken that next step for his NFL career. I hope that we can keep him in silver and black. I'm not going to blame him for wanting to try to go somewhere else, try to play because he wants to get a big-time payday. If the Raiders pay him money, he will stay. But he's also going to go try to get the biggest bag that he can get, which, again, I'm not going to blame anybody for doing that, but I would love to be able to keep him here rocking with the silver and black. Before I get into more minicamp winners, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but Chuggs and I, we've been doing some organizing here on the Raiders Report YouTube channel. And if you want to check out every single video that we made in June, and I get it, you guys are busy. We made videos around OTAs. We made videos around minicamp, free agency, players that we think are going to do well on offense, defense, special teams. When I tell you there's nobody on the planet that makes more Raiders content than Jeremy Chuggs and I mean it. And I want you to go check out the videos. You can see the link down there below. It's chatsports.com/RaidersJune 2024. That link is also going to be available to y'all down in the comments, down in the description. I just know that not everybody has the amount of time to watch every video that we do. So one thing I'm going to try to start doing a better job is organizing all the videos. So if you want to see all the content we made in June, here's a little screenshot of some of the vids. The link's going to be down there, and it's going to be in the description of today's show. Let's go to the next name here. It's Jakorian Bennett, and I'm putting Bennett on the list because I had somebody text me yesterday and said, Mitch, I watched your show. Very well tied in with the Raiders, and said, one name that you are not mentioning nearly enough is Jakorian Bennett, second-year corner. He had 2 interceptions in both minicamp days. One of them actually ended practice. But the reason why I am getting some of this information is because, you know, like we're always sitting up here talking, who's going to be the next guy to step up? Who's going to be that outside corner? I also get asked, are the Raiders going to sign Xavier Howard? Are they going to sign Stephon Gilmore? Well, right now, the Raiders seem pretty damn confident in their young cornerback room, and I'm wondering if it's because of Jakorian Bennett. Nate Hobbs on Wednesday spoke that he really thought that Bennett had a lot of confidence, that he had a lot of swagger, thought that he was taking that next step. Like, remember the step forward that Trevon Merrick made last season? You remember the step forward Malcolm Koonce made last season? Imagine a world where Jakorian Bennett takes a step like that. This defense is already, I think, one of the best defenses in the NFL. You got a guy like Jakorian Bennett, you got a guy like Tyree Wilson, they take that next step. Dude, this defense is going to be flipping awesome. And then the final winner, and probably the biggest winner from minicamp, and I'm just going to put this one in as a whole. I was going to put AP, Patrick Graham, all this, the Raiders defense. And, you know, I'm kind of wondering, is it the Raiders defense? I expect them to be good. Are they just out there just dominating the Raiders offense because they are truly that good? Or are they out there dominating the Raiders' offense because the offense is just not very good? And I get it. They're learning a new system with Wilkins. There's a lot of different pieces there. But, like, the one common message that we continuously get from beat reporters, from people that are just at that practice, this defense is a Super Bowl caliber defense. Can the offense put it together? Only time is going to tell. So you know what? We're going to play a little trivia here. I thought we would have a little bit of fun. And, we talk about Mad Max, Malcolm with Christian Wilkins, a lot of high expectations for this Raiders defensive line. Wouldn't you say so? If you have high expectations in this Raiders line, click that like button right now. The Raiders had 67 sacks in one season. Do not Google it. I will know. What year was it? Let me know down below in the comment section for all you watching live. And for those of you that aren't watching live, I'm going to let you know at the very end of today's show, the Raiders had 67 sacks. It's crazy. One season. What year was it? For comparison, the Raiders had 46 sacks last season. So now, it's the part of the show that I don't want to do, but hey, it's part of life, it's part of competition, it's part of football. Winners and losers. Now we're going to go to the losers part, and I'm going to put Matthew Butler on this list because did not practice. And a lot of the names that you're about to see on this minicamp losers list is because they did not practice. But with that, Matthew Butler struggled in terms of falling down the depth chart because he didn't practice. Byron Young got some extra reps in. You see guys like John Jenkins continue out there doing his thing. Adam Butler, this defensive tackle room is one of the better defensive tackle rooms in the league. And because Matthew Butler, who was not drafted by this regime, was not out there, that makes him a loser to me. Same exact thing with the other Butler, Darien Butler in at linebacker, unable to practice, been dealing with a lot of injuries and, ACL, MCL stuff, and you kind of feel bad for the guy. That's why he made this list. Next name coming up here is Chris Smith, and I'll be real. This has nothing to do with Chris Smith's performance. In fact, I did not get a single note from anybody on Chris Smith on how he looked at minicamp, and maybe that's not good. But what I do know is Tre Taylor is going out there and balling out. Isaiah Polamayo, Rob Ryan said that you better watch out for him. We know what we have in Marcus Epps. We know what we have in Trevon Merrick. That's 4 safeties right there. So because of that, we've heard so much hype around those 4 players. That makes me believe that Chris Smith, because I haven't heard anything, made him a loser. That's just me being honest with you. Before I get into the final 2 losers here, we've been doing Madden watch parties, and we've been having a lot of fun. You know who's been having way more fun than everyone? Venthrak. And Venthrak has been the MVP for 4 straight weeks. We're about to do a Week 6 live sim, so this could be you. Bottom line, who's going to dethrone Venthrak? I don't know if anybody is going to. Right now, it might be Ed Robbins, who's got out to an early lead. But if you like what we do on game days, I think you're also going to like in the middle of the offseason, we're bringing Madden watch parties to you. So we're doing a game Thursday, which is when I'm recording this video. We're also going to be doing a game tomorrow on Friday for Raiders Friday Happy Hour. The dates that you see up on screen are the days that we plan on going live here on the Raiders Report, doing a Madden watch party. They're a lot of fun. It's the off season. Hopefully you come hang out with us. Let's go to the next name here on the list. It's Alexander Madison, and kind of like what I said about Chris Smith, we've heard so much about Dylan Laube, and to me, I'm anticipating Zamir White's going to be your main running back. You know what I'm talking about? Like, that's going to be the main guy between the tackles. We agree? The opportunity where Madison had his opportunity, I think, to get on the field was in those passing situations, third down, because he is one of the better pass-blocking running backs in the league. The fact that already Dylan Laube's getting some of this work here makes me wonder if Laube takes over the passing game situation and Madison's this backup running back to Zamir White, does that make Madison the RB3 and put him in a situation where he just doesn't get nearly as much work as he originally thought? That's why I put him on this list here as a loser. And then the final minicamp loser is the Raiders' offense. It was very well documented, very well reported that the offense was not great. And you're learning the brand new system with Wilkins. You got 2 quarterbacks. That's still a lot of question marks around him with Gardner Minshew and Aidan O'Connell. On top of that, the offensive line's battling some injuries right now. Colton Miller's not out there, and the offensive line's going up against, one of the best defensive lines in football. But based on the notes, based on everything that we have received here, based on what has been reported, the Raiders' offense is so far behind the defense. And again, you can kind of look at it as maybe the defense is that good. I am a little bit worried. They're going to have plenty of time to get it cleaned up for training camp. But I need to see, not want, need to see this offense take leaps and bounds forward just so I need to see take leaps and bounds forward before training camp gets underway. So the way that we're going to wrap up today's show is we're going to go through these mini camp winners. Again, these are mini camp winners, offense and defense, both sides. You can see on the left is offense, on the right side is on the defensive side of the football, which, you know, if you want to take a screenshot, you want to post it on Instagram, you want to post it on Twitter, don't be afraid to do so. You can share it with Jeremy Chuggs and I as well, just to, you know, help the show continuously grow. And yes, we also got to throw those losers in there, and I hope Matthew Butler, Darien Butler, Chris Smith, Alexander Madison, hell, I hope the entire Raiders offense watches this video and they go, F this guy. Prove me wrong. Please. I want the Raiders to win. I want the Raiders to have the best offense and defense. But you know what? I still got to do my job too. And hey, maybe you got to do yours as well. Trivia time. The Raiders had 67 sacks in one season. What year was it? Do not Google it. Luckily for you, it is the end of today's show. The answer is, drum roll, 1967. The Raiders had 67 sacks. Kind of matches up. Maybe it'll be an easy way for you to be able to remember that. That defense also that season, I think I looked it up, Jeremy. I think they also had 30 interceptions. 67 sacks, 30 picks.
Sounds like a Madden sim.
That sounds like a Madden defense. Actually, no, it doesn't even sound like a Madden defense. This is the opposite of a Madden defense. It sounds like a defense that I would love to have with Las Vegas right now. Remember, y'all, if you haven't already, give me a follow on IG. Give me a follow on Twitter at Mitchell Renz 365. And if you need to stay up to date on even more stuff going on around the NFL, stuff going on around Jeremy Chuggs, especially if you ever win anything here, give him a follow on Twitter as well at Jeremy Chuggs. Shout out to all y'all for tuning in. Hopefully we win a lot more than we lose this season, and hopefully you're rocking with Jeremy and I the entire offseason.